This is David with Rinnai. I'm actually here in our Peachtree City, Georgia Dojo live training room, and I'm actually here to give you a quick overview on how to do a flush with our new systems, the CXs and the RXs, what we call the quick flush. Now remember, this is not a quick flush, it takes a full hour, but we're going to explain to you step-by-step process and how to set this up. Now for this procedure, the things you're going to need is going to be the 5-gallon bucket, a submersible pump that'll produce 4 to 6 gallons a minute, 2 washing machine hoses because they both have the female ends, O-rings specifically, and then 4 gallons of food grade vinegar that is NSF approved. Now, when you actually have all those items you do need, the way we're going to hook this up is on your pump side, you want to hook it up to the cold isolation valve. You got your return hose coming back from the hot isolation valve. The next step is you want to shut off your hot and cold isolation valves, the blue and the red, that's going to the building and from the building. The next step, after you got your hoses connected, just make sure they're nice and tight because you don't want to get wet. You want to open up basically the isolation valve on the cold side as well as the hot side. Once we got all those connected, just prepare yourself when you go to plug it in, just make sure you don't have any leaks. With everything connected, you want to leave the unit plugged in, but you can leave it off. It will actually work while it's off. From here, what I'm going to do before I plug my pump in is I'm actually going to come to the PC board. We're going to set this up to let the unit know, hey, I want to flush you. I want you to set up your valves for that particular procedure. With the unit plugged in, there's 2 buttons on this PC board. We have the A button, which is on top, and the B button, which is on the bottom. What we're going to do first is we're going to push and hold the B button first. And by doing that, you'll see a DES come on the screen. While it's on the screen, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to go to the A button. You're going to hold it in for a couple of seconds. You're going to hear the unit start moving things around, and you're going to start seeing this flash. So here we go. So now it's flashing. During this flush, what the unit did was it took this bypass valve pipe here. There's a valve back here that shut it off. So it's going to physically allow your flush agent to go through the unit for the first 55 minutes. After the 55 minutes, the last 5 minutes, that valve will open up, and then what's going to do is going to allow you to flush the bypass for the last 5 minutes. All right, now here's the biggest thing. When I go to plug it in, if you pay attention to the screen, you're going to start seeing a number. Now, right now you see the number 60. That is going to start counting down. Okay, it'll go 60, 59, 58, and all the way basically down to the end of 60 minutes. All right, think of a timer. During this time, what you'd like to do is take advantage of it because you have to wait the 60 minutes. Pull out your filter, inspect your filter, make sure it's clean. Inspect inside the unit. Make sure you don't see any corrosion or any leaks. Look basically on the face of it. Look at your exhaust. Wipe the unit down, okay? Now, here's something big, and yes, it's at 60 minutes, and what we'll do is we'll actually come back and show you at the end. During any time this unit has an issue with the flow rate, because the unit sees the flow rate, that's how it counts down. That's the only way it'll count down. Now you'll watch the unit, it will start counting down. But if that filter ever clogs up and that flow rate drops, the unit is actually going to tell you with a beep. What I'm going to do is I'm going to physically unplug the pump so that flow rate stops. And when I do this, just within a couple of seconds, it's going to start beeping. Now this is very important. With it beeping, it's saying, hey, I've got a problem with my flow. What you're going to want to do is only unplug your pump. When you unplug your pump, yes, you're going to have to basically deal with the beeping. Pull your filter, make sure it's clean, put it back in. All right, and still do not unplug this unit. The reason being is because what happens is, and I'm going to plug the pump back in. What happens is if I'm down to like say 23 minutes, if I unplug the tankless water heater, I just started at 23 minutes back to 60 minutes. So just remember, deal with the beeping, shut everything off, drain the unit down, pull your filter, clean it, put the filter back in, all right, and then just plug your pump back in, but do not unplug the tankless because you're going to have to start that all over again. The great thing about at the end of this unit will count it. It'll say it's been flushed. So if you come here, say 8 years in a row, and you flush it every single year, all right, at the end of that 8 years, we can go in here and say, yep, unit's been flushed 8 times. All right, now if you see that the unit actually just got to 5 minutes, what happened was the bypass valve just opened up and we actually heard it. So now for the next 5 minutes, it's still gonna flush the heat exchanger, but it's also allowing your fluid to go up through the bypass and flush all this part as well too. Now, if you look, we've actually got 1 minute left. When that 1 minute gets to the end, it's gonna say RNS, means rinse. Here's the great thing about this. Yes, this is a commercial water heater. This procedure is the same on the RX as well as the commercial. The great thing about the commercial is if it is communicating, cascading between other units, this time you don't have to remove the cables. All you have to do is put it into the procedure and it will take itself out of the loop, and the primary unit will say, okay, I need help from another unit. It'll bring that unit in while you're flushing that particular unit itself. So right now you hear the beep, it says rinse. There's 2 things you're gonna wanna do. It's either you hook up a hose to this on your hot side, you shut off basically, of course, your pump, which I'm gonna do right now. You drain down the unit, you shut off basically the cold isolation valve, you keep your hot isolation valve to the building closed. And what you're gonna wanna do next is hook up a hose to this and run it somewhere. Because what you're gonna need to do is you're gonna have to run that hose for 5 full minutes. If you don't have the ability to do that 5 full minutes, all you're gonna need to do is dispose of your vinegar properly. You're gonna wanna turn around and fill this bucket up 5 full times. And then when you're done, all you need to do is push your power button. It's gonna say end. And that is it. Now the unit itself will actually physically count this flush.